video presentation, Group 3, Julia, Caitlin, and I will discuss the different types of leadership style that can be used within the small group communication and which one can be the most effective for the best results within the group.
Authoritarian leadership is a style characterized by individual control over all decisions with little group input. Leaders typically make choices based on their ideas and judgment and rarely accept advice from followers. Characteristics of this style include little or no input from group members. The leaders will make all the decisions and they will dictate all the methods and processes. Group members are rarely entrusted with decisions or important tasks. Work tends to be very structured and highly rigid. Creativity and out-of-the-box thinking is often discouraged, and rules are important and tend to be very clear and outlined. Types of things that would benefit from authoritarian leadership would be when decisions need to be made quickly without consulting a large group of people. When the leader is the most knowledgeable person in the group, the authoritarian style can lead to fast and effective decision-making. It can also work best in small groups where leadership is lacking, or when a group has been derailed by poor decision-making. A strong leader who utilizes authoritarian system can take charge of the group, assign different tasks, and establish solid deadlines for the project to be finished. And authoritarian style is often preferred in stressful situations. Downside of this type of style would be people who overuse or abuse this style can often be viewed as bossy and dictatorial. Authoritarian leaders tend to overlook the knowledge and expertise that group members can bring to the situation. This, in turn, can hurt the overall success of a group. Since authoritarian leaders typically don't allow input from team members, followers start to feel dissatisfied and stifled. So a thing to remember with this style, listen to team members, establish clear rules, provide the group with knowledge and tools they need to succeed, be reliable, and overall recognize the success of your team.
One type of small group communication is democratic leadership. According to the book, it's when members invite other members to share in decision making. This way, everyone gets a voice in the group and can provide help in the process of making these decisions. Democratic leadership works well with small groups, so this way not only one person will be the main leader, but give everyone an opportunity and everyone is engaged in the process. It's all equal. Researchers have found that it's the most effective way of working in a group and leads to higher productivity rate and a better way of contributing from the members. It's also best for teamwork in the small group. Democratic leadership fits best with creative groups, consulting firms, service industry, and with education. For this to be effective, you must keep communication open, focus the discussion on the main topics, commitment from each members, respect others' ideas, and explain your actions but never apologize to one another. This relates to small group communication by providing a way for the group to communicate collaboratively with each other. It works well with small groups, so there aren't too many voices to be heard, but you can still easier hear everyone's voices and get everyone's ideas.
Laissez-faire leadership is a type of leadership that is hands-off and allows group members to make the decisions. Research has shown that this style of leadership leads to the lowest amount of productivity among group members. However, it does have its benefits. Laissez-faire leadership is often characterized by little guidance from leaders, complete freedom for followers to make decisions. Leaders provide the tools and resources needed from the beginning and will then step back and allow the group members to take control. Group members are expected to solve problems on their own. Power is handed over to the followers, yet leaders still are responsible for the group's decision and actions. An example of laissez-faire leadership in business was Steve Jobs, who was known for giving instructions about what he'd like to see to his team, but leaving them to their own devices to figure out how to fulfill his wishes. Some more benefits to this system would be when team members have the skills to succeed, laissez-faire leadership can be effective where group members are highly skilled and motivated and capable of working on their own. And it can also be effective when the group members are actually more knowledgeable than the leader because the team members are experts in a particular field. The laissez-faire system allows for them to demonstrate their deep knowledge and skills surrounding their particular subject. A few downsides to laissez-faire system would be lack of awareness. Group members may not be 100% sure of their role within the group and what they are supposed to be doing with their time. There's also poor involvement since leaders often seem uninvolved and withdraw, which can lead to lack of cohesion within the group. Low accountability when some leaders take advantage of the system to avoid personal responsibility for the group when they just can blame the group. This might thrive in a creative work field where people tend to be highly motivated, skilled, and creative and dedicated to the work.
In human communication, a big aspect that stands out for a theory and just in general is the leadership style. We've gone over authoritarian, democratic, and laissez-faire. Everybody in our small group have agreed that the democratic leadership style is the best way to go because of the fact that you have everybody sharing ideas and you have that one leader who can promote everybody's shared idea through one avenue versus probably the worst of the three, laissez-faire, where you have too many chiefs in the room. And that can cause a lot of confusion of ideas and can ultimately just be a never-ending cycle, if you will. So then we go into situational leadership, and which I like to call it depends, and that basically meaning like those leadership styles you're going to use per situation. Now, we can take two separate situations. If you have a small group who works for a human resources department versus a small group who works for a mechanic shop. We'll say something like Time It, if you will, where oil changes are a necessity on a day-to-day basis, and that's those employees' jobs. Versus at the HR department, they are continuously talking with customers and other people and using those emotional aspects already. So then it goes into the emotional leadership versus a task-oriented leadership. So if we're already in the HR department, which is human resources, and we're already using such thing as connecting to people and connecting to employees through an emotional way, why wouldn't we go ahead and use a emotional-oriented leadership style? And then that's the same for the other side. If we are already using a task-oriented job within those small groups, whoever's on shift and things like that, why wouldn't we use a task-oriented leadership? If we switch the two and say we had HR, the human resources, working with a task-oriented leadership, and then we had the mechanics working with the emotional-oriented leadership, I'm willing to bet that it wouldn't work out so well, just for the fact of switching the aspects and switching the overall psychological aspect of each small group. It's better and works more profoundly if we stay along the same trail per different group. So you keep that human resources group with the emotional leadership style, and you keep those mechanics at Time It or those oil changing companies and keep those with the task oriented style. Thank you.